Bonjour à tout le monde. Le maître de cérémonie est un politicien. Il voulait me présenter. J'ai dit, mais il n'a pas à me présenter. Nous nous connaissons assez, donc on va à l'essentiel. Monsieur le secrétaire général du ministère des Affaires étrangères, mesdames et messieurs les directeurs, monsieur l'inspecteur des missions diplomatiques, chers collaborateurs, ladies and gentlemen, ambassadors and head of diplomatic and consular missions, ladies and gentlemen, representative of international organization accredited in Togo, dear friend, dear brother, the former Minister of Foreign Affairs of Somalia, my brother Abi Said, dear guests, and dear guests from the academic world, distinguished guests, cher ami Antonio Le Greco et Madame, je vais dire ça en italien, Presidente of Distretto Internazionale. J'ai pas perdu mon italien. Merci. Ladies and gentlemen, seriously, the start of the diplomatic year in an annual opportunity for the government of Togo to recall the main outlines of Togo's external public action, which, as you know, plays its part and contributed to the extent of its capacity to the service of efforts aiming at improving the condition of our work or building it better for the prosperity of each of our states and the whole of the international society confronted with, as you know yourself, unprecedented mutation and challenges as worrying as pressing. Faced with the urgent need, it's necessary to act in Togolese diplomacy, following, of course, the vision and the orientation of the President of the Republic, His Excellency for Isozimna Nyasimbe, is a diplomacy of action. More than managing relations between states, diplomacy is taking in hand and managing the major issue of our sub-region, interregional spaces, continents, and international society. The subject of common concern are not numerous today that diplomacy cannot be satisfied with the minimum service. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, the Togolese diplomacy, I can say, want to be, or maybe the Togolese diplomacy is a pragmatic diplomacy of neutrality and non-alignment to better serve the causes of peace, collective security, regional and African integration, and human development. The posture of diplomatic equidistance allows us to talk to everyone in the management of international and regional affairs. In a world no longer has a center of gravity, but where the relationships of common dependence and interdependence condemn us to work together. It's very important for everyone to know our position right now is a neutrality position. During the diplomatic year that starts today, our country will continue at a multilateral level to work with other African states and the African Union to strengthen Africa's capacity to assert itself and assume its position on the international scene with full responsibility. Our continent needs to speak with one voice and for itself on the international scene. In addition to these aspects, we will continue and strengthen during the year the work of diversification of our partnership and substantially the exploration of new horizons and new economic opportunities. The world itself has diversified before our eyes, and we have no choice but to adapt to the reality of the world, to explore all the possibilities and opportunities it offers. The issue of the African diaspora and Afro-descendants, precisely that of the involvement in the development process on continental scale, remain one of the lines of our foreign policy. Togo, as you know, will continue to work with other states and African Union to implement the agenda of the decade of African roots and African diaspora launched in 2021. Peace and stability, which remain priority issues to the Togolese diplomacy, will mobilize us even more towards the new diplomatic year through collective effort to fight terrorism and through good offices and mediation initiatives. Our state and our region need peace. Our region needs stability in the current context of expansion of destabilization action by armed terrorist group. Dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, the focus on security and peace last year, as well as this year in the context of the start of the diplomatic year, is due to the fact that our continent is at a crossroad in terms of security, whether in the Sahel, the Lac Chad basin, West Africa, our region, the Gulf of Guinea region, and of course, because you have our friend here, the Horn of African region. Despite the efforts, initiative and strategy, both domestic and foreign, the dangerous process of dissemination of evil continues, and this perilous process cannot leave anyone indifferent. The destabilization of armed terrorist group is clearly an attempt to question momentum of sustainable pacification of our continent, and Africa must resist this movement of destruction of our achievement in terms of stability. This afternoon, conference with our friend, which is, I think, in fact, an opportunity for debate. For debate will allow us, I'm convinced, to have a clear exchange on the security challenges and stabilization strategy for the region of Africa confronted with terrorism and violent extremism. Finally, I would like him to take the floor. It's not my conference, it's his conference. Dear Said, I would like to thank my friend, my brother Said, who accepted to be the main speaker of this conference, and all the guests whose presence bring more brightness and human warmth to this meeting of the start of a diplomatic year 2020, 22 and 23. Thank you so much. MC, you have the floor.